this election is not going to turn on policy. I think policy is the result of something deeper. It's the shared values and shared virtues of this country. We are a nation that right now we are in what I consider a moral moment, not a political moment. I think that this campaign is not a referendum on one guy in one office. I think it's a referendum on who we are and who we are to each other. Because the problem we have today is that we are dividing ourselves as a country in an awful way. When I played football for Stanford, I would know when we were going to score a touchdown when I would hear the defensive huddle arguing amongst themselves and yelling at each other. I knew we'd blow right past them to get to the end zone. Because there's something very, very powerful about this nation's history. We are at our best when we find common cause and common purpose with each other across the lines that divide us, affirming the ties that bind us. And so many of the challenges we face right now, I tell you, I hear this from pundits all the time. They say the biggest thing we want in a Democratic candidate is just someone who can beat Donald Trump. And my response always is, dear God, can't we have bigger aspirations than that? Beating Donald Trump is the floor. It's not the ceiling. It gets us out the valley. It does not get us to the mountaintop.
Okay.
You come to my neighborhood. One of the reasons why we started campaigning in South Carolina in rural areas is because in many ways it reminded me of Newark. I had a city that for 60 years was declining in population, declining in tax base. People looked down on our city. I made a decision when I was coming out of Yale Law School that I would move into the toughest neighborhood and stay there, not forget the people that I first worked with. And so I'm the only United States senator that lives in a community for 20 years now below the poverty line, a black and brown community, and we don't mistake wealth with worth in our community. We know we have value and possibility and potential. And if you were to walk my blocks now and have people say, well, is the big aspiration just to beat Donald Trump? People are like, no. The big aspiration is to get us to a point in our country where my neighbors who work full-time jobs but still need food stamps at the local bodega. The big aspiration is when people turn on their water, they know it's going to be clean water and not poisonous like it is all around our country. A big aspiration for us is I live right across the street from a drug treatment center. I'll sit with the guys sometimes and see the absurdity of having their addictions treated with jail and prison and never getting a chance to get into treatment, costing us millions of dollars. On my block, I'm the only United States senator who lives in a community where people are getting shot. Shahad Smith killed with an assault rifle on my block just last year. This to me is not a symbol of one person in one office. It's a symbol to me that we have grown into this impotency of empathy. How we care about each other, see common cause with each other, understand that we need each other. Because this is a nation that everything we've done, from going to the moon, to beating the Nazis, to beating Jim Crow, to mapping the human genome, to the Eisenhower Highway Acts, every big thing we do together. And so I believe that this moment has more to do with who we are than who he is in that office. Can we get back to this country that understands, as a Declaration of Independence said at the end, if we're going to do this thing in this country, we had to mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. And so I'll tell you this, 50 years ago, my family's from the South. My dad grew up in Hendersonville, North Carolina. My mom, she went to Fisk University, and the two of them met in Washington, D.C. They married there. My dad had the luck and fortune to meet my mom. My mom had the charity and mercy to marry my father. and they decided, because of the activism of people, you know, my father was born poor to a single mother in Mountain, North Carolina. He would heckle me right now and say, you tell those people the truth, Cory. I wasn't born poor. I was just P.O. I couldn't afford it. My father's whole story is a story of people who rallied around him, who saw his potential. His mama couldn't take care of him. He was raised by a church family, took him into their home. When he couldn't afford college tuition, they had a collection to give him enough money to go down to North Carolina Central University to go to college. When he got to Washington, D.C., he became IBM's first black salesman ever hired in the Virginia region because of activists with the Urban League. He did so well that they got promoted up to New York, and they were trying to move into New Jersey, but every time they go look at a house in the areas of the best public schools, they happen to be white communities, the real estate agent would lie to them and tell them, oh, this house is sold. Or they'd make up any excuse not to let them move into the community. And so what did they find in that time of frustration? They found a group of people from that community who met in the living room, mostly white people, who said, this is not who we are. This is not what our nation's about. These were people that understood the definition of patriotism. Patriotism is love of country. And you cannot love your country unless you love your fellow countrymen and women. And love is not a sentiment. Love is not anemic sentimentality. Love is sacrifice. Love is service. Love says if your kids don't have a great public school to go to, then my kids are lesser off. If your children don't have prenatal care, then my children could be bereft of their genius and their artistry. And these folks put a scheme together, a little sting operation. I call it a conspiracy of love. They would send my parents out to look at a house, and when they were told the house was sold, they would send a volunteer white couple right behind them to see if the house was for sale or not. And they found out, lo and behold, that the house was still for sale. And the house that I grew up in, my parents were told it was sold. The white couple found out it was still for sale. They put a bid on the house. The bid was accepted. Papers were drawn up. And on the day of the closing, the white couple didn't go to the office. It was my father and a volunteer lawyer named Marty Friedman. And they walk into the real estate agent's office, confront the real estate agent. This should be the end of the story, Senator, but it's not. The real estate agent is so upset he's been caught, he stands up and punches my dad's lawyer in the face. And he sings a dog on my dad. And let me tell you, as I was growing up in this beautiful home, every time my dad would tell this story, the dog would get bigger. Eventually he's like, boy, I had to fight a pack of wolves to get you. My father raised me to know, my mama raised me to know that you did not get here on your own. You were here because of the struggles and the sacrifices of Americans. Some of them looked like you and prayed like you, but many of them didn't. When Americans unite for the cause of justice, to put more indivisible into this one nation under God, that is when we excel. That is when we rise. The biggest challenges of our nation, we came together to make it happen. Why am I living in the inner city of Newark, New Jersey? It's because when I came out of law school, people had fought for my housing rights. I moved to Newark to fight for other people's housing rights. I became a tenants' rights lawyer. Because my parents told me, you can't pay your blessings back. You got to pay in full.
Oh, okay.
And we said, you know what? In this city, our divisions are our weakness. We organized and beat slumlords because the people united will never be defeated. We took on the city's machine. They told me I could never become mayor of this city, but I told people the power of the people is greater than the people in power. When we organize in this country, when we bring each other together and let people understand that we have common cause and common purpose, that's when big things get done. You want to know why I'm running for president of the United States? It's because I believe in this moral moment we need a revival of civic grace. We need a more courageous empathy for each other. Because we come from a tradition that when, even in the worst of days, Senator, even in the worst, when 4 girls died in a bombing in Birmingham, we rose up. We overcame the longest filibuster in Senate history and changed civil rights laws. My grandparents told me about when women got caught in that fire at the shirtwaist factory fire in New York and threw themselves out windows trying to escape the fire in the sweatshops only to die on the pavement below. This whole country came together and changed workers' rights and workers' laws, and we responded. But where have we gotten today when they're killing each other? We see people going into a synagogue in Pittsburgh or church right here in South Carolina. And what do we do in Washington? We change it? Nothing changes. When we see people dying in a concert in Las Vegas or a nightclub in Orlando, we do nothing. When we see our children dying under their desks in schools from Newtown to Parkland, it's a shameful moment in American history when the strongest nation on the planet Earth says we can't protect our children, so we're going to send them to school and they're going to learn how to hide. We are now at a point in America where there are more shelter-in-place and active shooter drills than there are fire drills.
Yeah.
This is not who we are. We are tearing each other down, and we can't even do the things to keep up with our competitors. China's built 18,000 miles of high-speed rail. The busiest rail corridor in America goes from Boston to Washington, D.C. It runs half an hour slower than it did in the 1960s. Our competitors from Japan to Germany, the people we beat in the war, every one of their children has access to the high-speed internet at home.
Yeah.
But here we are in South Carolina, and kids don't even have access to internet, not to mention access to clean water. What are we doing when we are the wealthiest nation on the planet Earth, but we're losing ground? Other countries invest in their children. We don't have universal prenatal care. What we do have is the highest infant mortality rates, highest maternal mortality rates, highest low birth babies being born in all the industrial nations. We're the only industrial country that doesn't have paid family leave. Afghanistan and the Congo have paid family leave. We don't have universal preschool. Every one of our competitors do. And I can show you a balance sheet analysis that every taxpayer dollar invested in universal preschool returns multiples to you in the economic growth and contributions of that child. And so I just want to close by telling you all that this is the urgency of the moment. It's not just to beat one guy in one office, and it's definitely not to become like him. I got Democrats, I got to talk to us sometimes. The goal of the Democratic Party is not to beat Republicans, it's to unite Americans. The goal of the Democratic Party is not to tell people what we're against, to show people what we're for. And the goal of the Democratic Party is to demonstrate through our elections our values. I was running onto a stage in Iowa, and big guy sees me. I'm a big guy, former tight end for Stanford, former All-American football player. I've been around once.
All right.
And big guy tries to stop me and says, hey, I want you to punch Donald Trump in the face. And I look at him, I go, hey, that's a felony, man. We're not going to beat Donald Trump by fighting him on his turf, using his tactics. That's not how we win against bigotry or demagoguery or fear-mongering. We didn't beat Bull Connor because we brought bigger dogs or bigger fire hoses. We beat him because we had artists of activism that appeal to the moral imagination of this country. And that's why I want to end by telling you what I did in the Senate. I decided when I got to the Senate to do things that other senators do that have a high sense of self-regard. I decided to write a book. But if your name is Booker, it's a lot of pressure on you. And so I went back to find the lawyers who helped my family move into New Jersey 50 years ago. And I found the guy that organized the whole thing, and I called him up. And what he told me shook my spirit, but affirmed why I'm running for president. I called him up to get all the facts of the story. He told me it wasn't a pack of wolves, it was just a dog. And after he tells me everything, I got everything I need for this chapter of the book, I asked this white man, I go, sir, I just need to understand something. Why in the 1960s did you take so much time to help African Americans moving into your neighborhood when this was a time of fears of white flight, fears of real estate prices going down? You were just starting your business too. You were busy. You were barely keeping a roof over your head. Why would you help families coming into your neighborhood? He goes, well, I remember the moment I made the decision. I go, what was the moment? He goes, it was March 7th, 1965. And I'm like, that's very specific. What was going on then? And for some of you who are old enough, you might remember this date. I didn't remember this date. He said he was sitting at home on his couch watching TV. And most of America was watching what he was watching, because we had only 3 channels back then.
ABC, CBS, and ABC.
Yeah, they played the national anthem. You had to find something else to do. And so he's watching TV. Most of America was watching this movie. You all remember this date. The movie was called Judgment at Nuremberg. And some of you all remember. And something historic happened on that day. During a TV movie, they broke away from a movie to show some breaking news in America. The camera showed a bridge in Alabama called the Edmund Pettus Bridge. These marchers had started in Selma. They were trying to march to Montgomery, but they got stopped on that bridge. And he watches them get tear gassed. And then you all know this, the Alabama State Troopers charged in and started beating them viciously over the head. We know this day now as Bloody Sunday. But what shocked me is what happened next. What did a white guy on a couch 1,000 miles away do? Did he just sit there and say, that's a shame, somebody should do something about it? No. Did he allow his inability to do everything undermine his determination to do something? No. He didn't just sit there. He got up off the couch in the name of love, of patriotism and common cause. He's like, I got to do something about this. This is my country. He says, I'm going to go down to Alabama. Then he realizes he can't afford a plane ticket. And then he thinks to himself, well, okay, why don't I just do an American tradition, which is to do the best you can with what you have where you are. And he says he calls around, he finds a group of people that needed a lawyer, great lawyer, because they were trying to organize a sting operation to help black families move into the neighborhood. And he said he got working with them. He developed this operation. Then he goes 65, turns to 66, turns to 67. They get more people involved. Then it turns to 1968. Then it turns to 1969. Now they got a whole group of people going. And he says he'll never forget the day in 1969 that he gets this case file from this family trying to move up from the South. And he goes, Cory, we helped that family. You know what the name on that case file was? I go, what, sir? He goes, the two names on that case file were Carrie and Carolyn Booker, your parents. I am literally standing here before you right now as a United States Senator, only the fourth black person ever to be elected to that office.
Yes.
I am running for the highest office in the land because one man, in a moral moment, didn't just sit on a couch.
All right.
He got up and did something about it.
All right.
He didn't care that my family looked different than us, was a different ethnicity, different race, different religion. He knew we had common cause and common purpose.
Yes.
What is this election about? It's not just about health care and expanding Social Security. We can't do any of those things unless we get this country back together.
Yes.
Because when we stand together and work together and have leaders that call to our moral imagination and remind us of who we are to each other, that's how we win. That's how this nation thrives and how it survives. And most of all, that's how we will rise.
All right. Amen.